and I would like to invite Uri. The topic is going
So
to
much more
be the
episode.
hidden roadblocks of today's customer journey and how to fix them. Please, stage is over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Presentation? Okay. Okay, in the meantime, while it warms up, I feel like I met you all, which is great. Let's have this like an informal discussion, okay? So if you have questions, just raise your hand, ask a question. It's a discussion, less a lecture. So I think I met a lot of you. I come from WebEyes, back in Israel. Happy to be in India. I traveled here like 20 years ago. Had the best time ever. I was here for 2 months in Goa, in Bangalore. And it was amazing, amazing time. It reminds me, like, the food is amazing. Anyway, so it reminds me of really good times. I'm really happy to be here. Okay, so yeah, this is what I'm going to discuss about. Let's see how it works. Great. So I'll just tell you 1 minute about myself because it helps understand what I'm going to talk about. Previously, I had, like 5 or 6 years ago, I had a development agency based out of Israel. We developed Magento, e-commerce, etc. We would get many complaints because that's how it works, about stuff that's not working, about latency, about, we didn't touch anything. Yesterday we were selling at 20%, now we're selling at 5%. It has to be a technical issue, right? I'm guessing that a lot of you are familiar with that situation. I got frustrated. I began developing stuff to understand what's going on, and that's how I came up with WebEyes. So this is, the context of WebEyes. There's a big problem, okay? So this is stuff that people are speaking for the last 10 years about user experience, okay? So just try to imagine, because we're talking about a lot internet and about, latency, etc., but just really try to imagine, e-commerce is very cold. It's online, right? And people are struggling, but they're struggling at home on their mobile. You can't help them. And just imagine you have a store. Just imagine a physical store. You have like a mall, and there's a physical store, okay? And someone is trying to walk in, and the door shuts in their face. And they try to log in again, and they hit the door again. That wouldn't happen anywhere in a physical world, right? It only happens online. You try to log in, you forget your password. You reset the password, you didn't get the email. You try to do a one-time password, it doesn't work. That happens online. Just imagine a physical store you walk into, and you're looking for shirts. You have size 12, size 14, size 18. Where's 16? I don't know. Can't find it, right? So you start looking around. In a store, someone would come up and say, "Hey, sir, can I help you?" Yeah, sure. Oh, it's there. 16 is there. Online, that's an abandoned user. That's it. He's done. They looked for something. They couldn't find it. They're out. Okay? And that happens every day. So from our statistics, we see that 88% of users that had at least one of these issues just won't come back anymore. They had a bad experience. They're done. Everything that's sold online will be sold somewhere different. So you have to capture them when they're online, and you have to have a seamless user experience. Okay? Also on the business side, and also on the tech side. Okay, so, this has been talked a lot about. This is more on the business side about, the economy is not easy. It's not easy to sell. The cost of acquisition is higher. It's harder to understand where the user coming from. Apple is much more closed. So it's very hard to target the user again. So e-commerce is struggling. It's harder to sell. So you already paid a lot of money to get the user hit the website. At least have them have a perfect experience. Don't lose them because of stuff that you can fix. Okay, so a minute about the discussion is not web-based, but just to understand like how we gather this data. So all this presentation basically is data that's coming from web-based. So we took all of our customers. On a monthly basis, we measure over 1 million data points. And the data points are also on the business level and also on the tech level. So basically all the data we're going to talk about now is a month of data that we analyzed. We also have it, by the way, on our website. You can choose and see all this data is also open on our website. Okay, so the most important part that we look at is where you're losing revenue. There's always stuff happening. There's always things that you can fix. But if it's not immediate lost revenue, the priority is less. I want to look for stuff that is causing for lost revenue. How do we know if something is causing actually lost revenue? So we take a sample of data, for example, of a user that has an add to cart issue. And we look at the conversion rate to purchase if they had an add to cart issue. And we compare it to sessions that did not have that issue. And then we see the deviation between if they have an issue and not. That's how we generate, enlarge the lost revenue category. So I'm going to talk a lot about, you can see over here, if there's success, if there's failure, you can see a drop in conversion rate, and this is how we get up to the number of the lost revenue. Any questions until now? Is it clear? Perfect. From our data, there's around 25 to 30% of lost revenue on every website. It doesn't matter if it's a large site, if it's a small site, if there's a huge development team, if there's a small development team, if it's Magento, if it's Shopify Plus. These are the high-level stats. A lot of it is done on the business, a lot of it is lost on the business side, and some of it is also on the tech side. Okay, so all the data you're going to see here is based on specifically the health and beauty industry. Okay, and again, we have segments on the website. You can choose the industry that you'd like to look for. Specifically, average order value of $100 and a monthly 1 million sessions per month. Okay, so this is the data set that we're looking at. Okay, so this is if we look at the business section, so we can see that it's divided into like 4 areas that are losing the most. One is the login and registration, the place orders, and the discounts. And then there's a distribution of all the rest. But I would say that the 75% is the top 3 of the reasons that you're losing revenue, or your customers are losing revenue. And if you remember the data set, we're talking about almost $150,000 for a site that has 1 million page sessions per month. Okay, so here's some interesting data. So we break down the login issues into the actual error messages themselves. Okay, so you can see people forgot their username or password. That's a high number. Or just technical issues, or registration form issues. Okay, so these are the numbers. Now, you know, when we encounter with customers install our code, we go over the information, then we see that there's people forget the user password, and the reaction usually would be, they forgot their password, what do you want me to do? The system is working correctly. There's no bug. That's right, there's no bug, but 30% of your customers are trying to log in and they're failing, and they're abandoning the website. Some of them are abandoning the website because they're hitting the wall again and again and just can't log in. There's all kinds of solutions. One solution is to have social logins, you know, like Facebook, Google. They probably won't forget that password. It's very easy to connect between your account and the social account, and then they're logged in. You just bypass that problem. You can send out a magic link. So you just send out a magic link, you get it on email, click, you're already logged in automatically. There's one-time passwords, right? You can put in your phone number, which you don't forget, you get a text message, and then it's more secure, plus the person is logged in. So there's all kinds of ways to bypass issues that seem as if, what can I do? There's a problem. You can bypass those issues. And that's a lot of money on the table. It's not tech issues, it's just user behavior, and you can help them with that. Questions? Yeah.
How about the guest checkout? So why do we need people to log in?
You don't have to. You really don't have to.
So that is not part of the issue.
No. So guest checkout is a good solution. You don't have to, I mean, it's a decision, a business decision, if you want to capture information or not. You can capture it at the end, say, do you want to create an account at the end after the user purchased? And that's a good solution, yeah. If you don't have to have that information, don't create a user. That's
we
it.
tend to create the customer's account immediately after
Yeah.
meta success.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good solution too. There's many, that's a good idea, and there's many other solutions out there, but just don't say, what can I do? They forgot their password. Place order, okay? So again, a lot of money is on the table. Credit card declined, technical errors, invalid shipping address. I'll just give you one reference that I had to something I bought on Amazon. I was traveling in Greece, and my wallet was stolen, okay? So I had a credit card that was stolen. I canceled the credit card. 2 months later, I ordered online on Amazon with my canceled card. It succeeded. So I was like, wait, so it's not canceled? So people are still stealing my money? No, what happened was I finished the transaction. Transaction is done. I got an email, thank you very much for purchasing. A day later, I got an email, we have a small problem with your credit card, can you please fill it out again? So what happened? So in my mind, I'm already done with the decision. Decision is made, I purchased, but now there's a small thing I need to fix. That's a great way to bypass that kind of a situation. You can add payment options, okay? So not only having credit card, it could be Afterpay, you know, it could be other tools, it could be Amazon Pay, it could be Google Pay, Apple, whatever it is, just give them any option possible so they don't get stuck in one place and that's it. That's like the highest intent. These are people that already are down the funnel, put in the money, they want to pay you, and they're blocked. Okay, so there's all kinds of solutions for that specific error. Okay, this is a catastrophe, okay, discount codes. There's a whole storm of issues happening with discount codes. So we see on average, I think it's 22%, if I'm not mistaken, of coupons that are failing. Now, in many cases, the failures are coming from, there's all kinds of aggregators of coupons, you know, like Honey, etc., and they go and scrape and they try. That's cool, that's okay, we know it. Everyone knows it. The thing is that the psychology behind it is that people don't like to get rejected on coupons, okay? Give them a 3% coupon. Give them a 5% coupon. If it fails 3 times, I'm really sorry, here's a 5% coupon. You're going to gain so much revenue just by that and giving that 5%, because at the end they'll see, in the cash, they'll see it costs $100, I'm paying $95, whew, I got a discount, let's continue. That's the psychology behind it. So just help them with that promotion, because they'll feel better, they'll purchase. Abandonment rate is very high when they don't succeed with coupon codes, even if it's fake coupon codes, even if it's coupons that were scraped off the internet. They want to get a discount. Just give them a small discount. You'll gain a lot of revenue there. What else? So there's all kinds of checkout validations on the checkout page. Is the address correct? For example, in the UK, the zip code is a mess. Is your phone number okay? You know, everything is important, but the most important that the person purchases. That's like the number one most important part. So you want to get them, you can validate it later. If they put in a credit card and it works, send them an email a day later saying, listen, I think there's a problem with your phone number, let me help you out. At least capture the actual transaction itself. So even if there's a validation failure, maybe just remember, maybe flag it on a database saying, we should contact this person later. But just don't stop the transactions. It's causing friction, and people are just frustrated. And you see them scrolling up, scrolling down, and the validation is not in place. And then the error message is not clear, and it's a whole mess. Just help them purchase less validations. If you have to have a validation, make it big, make it clear. Okay? With the coupon codes, I didn't talk about the coupon code failures. In many cases, you put in a coupon code, it'll say, wrong coupon code, please try again. Maybe it's the right coupon code, but I'm in the wrong product. Maybe I have to buy at least 2 more coupons. Maybe maybe I have to have at least $50 in my basket and then it'll work. And all these failures have the same response. Failed, please try again. The error messages on every level, if it's a payment, if it's any validation, if it's a login, whatever it is, give as much information for the customer to understand what they need to do for the next stage. So if you have to validate, at least give a good validation, center, red, large, with many words explaining the problem. Yeah, so you can see here the checkout validation is a big issue. And there's all kinds of things that you can do with that. If it's one of them is, of course, removing the validations, fallback mechanism. So if this fails, do that. If this fails, open up a chat. There's all kinds of things that we can do to solve these kinds of issues. And we also help with that, by the way. Okay, there's also tech issues. Okay, I had an agency. I know what it means to run software. You test it in one way, and then someone comes with kind of a browser, with a mobile, with a device you never tested on a weak internet, whatever it is, and they came from Google or came from Facebook, and there's a cookie here, whatever it is. There's all kinds of millions of use cases you just cannot test all the way. So I totally understand the issues. This is just data that we're collecting, and we're helping analyze and prioritize what can be fixed and the importance of all the issues. So we see that 67 or 61% of lost revenue on the tech issue is coming from JavaScript errors, okay, and then page load time, and then failed AJAX calls. Okay, that's the how we see the priority. On the JavaScript errors, we didn't want to throw anyone under the bus, so we didn't put any JavaScript specific names here. But you can see that some of them are internal, some of them are external. And of course, in the system, you can see exactly what JavaScript is causing what failure. And many third parties. The first most important thing, if you're looking at JavaScript, is, since Google Tag Manager, I think that's when the biggest problem began, because it's very easy to add anything and no one ever removes anything, right? It's like this dump of JavaScripts. And when we have an audit and we analyze a website, it's like, hey, why is this running? We took it off like 2 months ago. You didn't take it off. Maybe you stopped paying them, but it's still there. So there's a list of many, many, many scripts running that are not even relevant for the website. So number one is go over the website, see exactly what's relevant, what's not. Make sure it's not in the head. Everyone wants to be in the head. Don't put anything in the head, put it in the body. It's also good for load time, also good for, for performance. And also good for if the error happens, at least it happens like after the load time itself. And of course, monitor all the JavaScript errors. So understand what's happening and prioritize not only by how many times there's failures, but where it's happening inside the funnel. Because it may happen that you have 1 million JavaScript errors happening on a specific landing page, which is not causing any damage, but on the payment page, there's 1,000, which is causing a catastrophe. So it's not only how many times it's happening, it's actually where it's happening, which is more critical. Okay, page load time is a huge story. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's endless. It's a war, it's a journey, it's a process, whatever you call it, it's endless, okay? So there's always optimization that can be done on many, many steps. So we're looking at these numbers. The way that we calculate it is we take sessions that hit a product page and have excessive load time, which is above 3 seconds, and then we take the ones below 3 seconds, and we compare the conversion rate for these two categories. Okay? So that's how we know that is causing, this latency is actually causing this specific lost revenue. So first of all, these are the areas in the site that we found that are more sensitive to page load time. And you can teach me, I'm guessing, how to have much better page load time, but the basics is First of all, have a CDN. You know, Magento, unfortunately, is not the fastest platform ever. Have a CDN, have many caching layers. If it's on the browser, if it's on a CDN, and if it's on the server. Because what we see is, for just one example, is you see when there's low traffic, the page load time spikes. And that's because the cache is stale, goes to the server, goes to the disk, goes to the database, and then it takes like 3 seconds until it actually loads. So you want caching wherever you can, and the strongest caching possible. Of course, with AJAX calls that can be dynamic, so you don't cache data you don't want to cache, but whatever you can cache, like HTML, cache it fully, and then have the specific AJAX which you can bypass. So one is caching, lazy loading, of course, defer the images, defer the JavaScript, whatever is not in the viewport, don't request it on the initial load. When the user scrolls, bring that information, of course. Image size, critical. We see, you know, you develop an amazing site, you put in a lot of effort in the performance, and then the marketing, you upload a banner of 5 megabytes, you know, because that's, you just copy paste and that's it. So there's all kinds of tools for that, of course, that help with that, but be very minded to what is uploaded to the website. Don't give everyone access just to make life easier, and you make sure that whatever's on the website is performing fast.
Small question.
Sure.
A lot of time, the digital marketing team comes up and says, hey, technical team, if my site is 1 second faster, I could make more $1 million than, you know, right now. And that's, I think, you know, generating with everyone.
Right.
So when you say that, you know, this is a loss of a revenue because of page load time, were you able to find out what is an ideal page time should be so that this loss of revenue will not happen?
Yeah, it's around 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Yeah, so page load time is the full page load time. Of course, there's the largest contentful paint, the first, there's all kinds of other metrics. So page load time is like historical. But page load time, 3 seconds is good. And you can accomplish it in many ways. But we're also looking at the largest contentful paint. So when the user feels like the first interaction that the site is not just waiting for the click. But in terms of load time, it's 3 seconds. Optimize, optimize, optimize. It's endless. I know it's not fun, but it is. That's what you have to do. Okay, so these are the failed calls. The discount is wrong here. It's failed calls. We're tracking failed AJAX call going to the server or to third parties. Okay, so some of them will be internal calls. Some of them will be third-party calls. Just make sure. I mean, we saw in many systems that there's all kinds of failures happening on even large SaaS platforms that just fail. So it could be like reviews that are failing. It could be suggested, if you bought 1, 2, 3, maybe you'll buy 4, 5, 6. It looks like a simple AJAX call, but it comes back with a lot of information that the user is missing. Okay, so you have to monitor all the AJAX calls, make sure that you don't have any failures happening over there. And of course, the prioritization, it's really important, again, everything should be prioritized by the lost revenue. Because if you're prioritizing by the number of transactions, that won't help a lot. You have to make sure what is causing you this lost revenue. Okay, so the bottom line is, you know, this is the time to take action. You should understand that as we speak, not you, probably your customers are losing money, okay, and they're suffering, and they're helpless, and it's very hard to understand where they're suffering and where they're losing money. So there's a few ways. I'm going to talk about what our best practices are to understand what's happening. But being proactive as an agency, be proactive with customers saying, listen, this is a priority. You're losing revenue. It's not optimized, and you already paid so many marketing dollars to get the user on the page, and then losing them because of inefficiency is a heartbreak. So just convey that to the customers, and then begin taking action, and you can help them with that. You're trying to understand where there's friction, okay? Because it's actually every point there is like friction. And their customers are struggling on each point of the funnel. So this is what you want to help them do. You want to pinpoint the problem, you want to quantify it in lost revenue, and that's how you prioritize what needs fixing. So the first is track. Okay, you have to track all the data. There's a few ways to track it. There's tools, of course. This is, what WebEyes does, of course. You have to put in tracking in place and making sure that you can visualize the specific problem and making sure that you have the data. Otherwise, it's hunches, because a customer calls up and says, listen, I have a problem. There's no way you can ever replicate that specific problem because for you, of course, it works. And then there's a discussion about the browser device. Is it 1 customer? Is it 10 customers? Is it 100 customers? It's very hard to understand. You need data. You have to quantify it. You have to understand how much revenue is lost. Because there can be an issue that's happening 200,000 times, but it's not costing lost revenue. It's not a priority. It's not number one. Yeah, I'm sure you have a bug list of like 200,000 bugs. That's how it works. But the most important bugs or the more important improvements are the ones that are going to generate revenue. So you have to quantify for each area how much is being lost. And that's how you prioritize. You have a day job. Your day job is to develop, is to production, is to speak with your customers. You have to set up alerts because you won't be 24/7 in the, New Relic. Usually you look at New Relic when someone really yells loud and then you look at the data and what's happening there. That's usually when you use the server-side monitoring. So set up alerts if there's less transaction happening. For example, if there's less sales, less transactions, more add to cart failures, more payment failures, load time just increased by 10%. It's above 7 seconds. Be alerted about it and don't wait for a phone call because usually those are like awful phone calls, right? You don't want to receive those. Be proactive. Once you have these alerts, you can reach out to the customer and say, listen, I'm really sorry, we see the problem, we're on it. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And many of the issues are not technical. Many of the issues are, listen, the payment gateway is awful. You need to replace the payment gateway because there's a 40% denial of credit cards when it's not really should be the case, right? So there's many things, login issues with the 35% of failures. It's not a tech issue. You can help them sell more just by optimizing that. So set up alerts so you won't be surprised when something is going wrong. And of course resolve. And this is after you have all the information. You received an alert. It's prioritized based on the revenue. Fix it. Everyone's going to be happy. You're going to be happy because it took you a short time to understand the problem and you fixed it. The client is going to be happy because they see an increase in revenue. And everything was quick because you received the alert and the action is quick. That's it. Thank you very much. So first of all, we have a booth over there. If there's any other questions, we'll be happy to answer any other questions. And all the data that you see here is online, webeyes.com. There's a lost revenue simulator. You can play with the sizes and the verticals, and you can get that information. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Uri. It was a great session, and we got to know where we are losing money, and I'm sure it is worth to check WebEyes. Your analytics is good, and I'm sure everyone will like to try. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him directly. He has a booth outside. Please visit the marketplace. We will be having the lunch break now, and then one of the most awaited session from Vinay will be having after hour, I believe. Thank you so much, Uri.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's it for now.